The PGA Tour dominated professional golf for decades without a real challenger. Then LIV Golf arrived, backed by billions in Saudi sovereign wealth, offering stars like Dustin Johnson guaranteed contracts no traditional tour could match. 17 players were suspended in a single day. An antitrust lawsuit followed weeks later. The sport fractured. To understand how golf's biggest war began, you have to follow the money. In 2021, a new player stepped onto golf's biggest stage, carrying a war chest few could ignore. LIV Golf Investments, fueled by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, started with $200 million in seed money and a promise to rewrite the economics of the sport. At the helm stood Greg Norman, a former world #1 and two-time major champion, whose name still carried weight in clubhouses and boardrooms around the world. Norman's pitch was simple but powerful: guaranteed contracts, enormous signing bonuses, and a format designed to appeal to both players and fans tired of the old routine. The name itself, LIV, signaled something different. The letters are Roman numerals that mean 54, and they represented not just the number of holes in each event, but a break from the 72-hole grind that defined the PGA Tour. The message was clear. This was not just another tour, but a new vision for professional golf. With the public investment fund's backing, Norman and his team began targeting the game's biggest stars. The offers were staggering. Phil Mickelson reportedly received $200 million just to sign on, Bryson DeChambeau $125 million, and Dustin Johnson, one of the most recognizable faces in the game, agreed to terms for a figure rumored to be north of $100 million. For many players, the numbers were life-changing. LIV's model guaranteed multi-year contracts and paid out even to the last-place finisher. In contrast, the PGA Tour's prize money depended on performance, with no guarantees for those who missed the cut. LIV's first event in June 2022 at the Centurion Club in England featured a $25 million purse, $4.75 million for the winner, Charles Schwartzel, and six-figure checks for every participant. The financial security and the chance to play fewer events for more money proved irresistible for some. Dustin Johnson's decision to leave the PGA Tour for LIV sent shockwaves through the sport. He was soon joined by other major winners, and the exodus of marquee names forced the PGA Tour to confront a threat it had never faced before. As more stars crossed over, the traditional balance of power in golf began to tilt, setting the stage for a fierce institutional backlash. The first shots in golf's institutional war landed with the force of a thunderclap. On June 9, 2022, as play began at LIV Golf's inaugural event in London, the PGA Tour issued a letter to its members. 17 players who teed it up in London were immediately suspended. The list included major champions and Ryder Cup veterans, each barred indefinitely from all PGA Tour events, and from representing the tour in the President's Cup. The message was unambiguous. Allegiance to the new league came at a steep price. The DP World Tour, Europe's leading circuit and a close partner of the PGA, moved quickly as well. Players who competed in LY5 events without official releases were handed fines of £100,000 each and banned from 3 co-sanctioned tournaments. The sanctions sent ripples across the professional ranks, with some players weighing the risk of financial penalties against the lure of guaranteed money. Tour executives defended their actions as necessary to uphold competition and protect the sport's traditions, while critics accused them of using their regulatory power to crush a rival. Legal escalation followed almost immediately. On August 3, 2022, 11 LIV golfers, including Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, and Taylor Gooch, filed an antitrust lawsuit against the PGA Tour in federal court, alleging monopolistic practices and restraint of trade. The suit argued that the tour's suspensions and eligibility rules unfairly blocked players from pursuing new opportunities. The PGA Tour responded with its own filings, defending its right to set membership standards and enforce loyalty. Courtrooms became the next battleground, with both sides trading legal arguments as the future of professional golf hung in the balance. By mid-summer, the conflict had moved beyond contracts and cash. It was now a fight over the rules that defined golf's elite stage. Tours, lawyers, and governing bodies all took positions, turning a business rivalry into a full-scale regulatory and legal standoff. The rapid escalation set the tone for the months ahead, as both organizations prepared for a drawn-out contest not just for players, but for the very structure of the game. Jay Monahan, at the helm of the PGA Tour, responded to the LIV Golf Challenge with a series of calculated moves. The Tour's first action was to tighten its eligibility rules, making it clear that players who joined rival events risked permanent exclusion. These changes, crafted by a policy board that included both executives and leading players, were communicated directly to every member, signaling a new era of loyalty requirements. But the strategy extended beyond enforcement. The PGA Tour created a new for-profit entity, PGA Tour Enterprises, and introduced an equity program that promised loyal players a stake in future growth. Details about eligibility and vesting remained confidential, but the intent was unmistakable: to counter the financial lure of LIV golf contracts with ownership in the tour itself. Prize money surged as well. Signature events now offered $20 million purses, with $3.6 million to each winner, figures that rivaled or even surpassed most LIV payouts. These tournaments, reserved for top-ranked players, were designed to reward commitment and keep golf's biggest names anchored to the tour. The overall annual prize pool climbed above $500 million, fueled by new sponsorships and broadcast deals. LIV Golf, meanwhile, set itself apart with a radically different format. Each event featured 54 holes, no cuts, and a shotgun start, with all players beginning simultaneously from different holes. The team structure, 12 squads of 4, brought a new dynamic, and every participant received a guaranteed payout, even those finishing last. Standard purses reached $25 million, with $4 million for the winner, and six-figure sums for every other player. For many, the decision became about more than money. It was a choice between tradition and a new model of competition. Professional golf now stood divided, not just by who could play or how much they earned, but by the very structure of the game. The battlefield had shifted from bans and suspensions to competing visions of what the sport could become. The rift between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf has grown into a contest over golf's identity, where legacy, ethics, and reputation are all on the line. The official World Golf Ranking, long the gatekeeper to the sport's 4 majors, became a flashpoint. In July 2022, LIV Golf applied for official World Golf Ranking recognition, hoping its players would earn points and keep their paths open to the Masters, the US Open, the Open Championship, and the PGA Championship. The answer was a clear no. The official World Golf Ranking Board cited LIV's closed fields, no-cut events, and lack of open qualification. LIV reapplied, but the outcome did not change. As a result, players like Tyler Gooch and Patrick Reed saw their rankings plummet, falling out of the top 500, losing automatic entry into the majors, and facing the reality that their careers might be defined by what they could no longer chase. The debate over LIV's Saudi funding has only sharpened the divide. Critics see the league as a vehicle for sports washing, an attempt to rebrand a regime with a troubled human rights record. Greg Norman and other backers argue that golf should welcome new investment and ideas, and that players deserve the freedom to choose their own path. The question of whether legacy or livelihood matters more has split locker rooms and fan bases. Phil Mickelson's decision to join LIV for a reported $200 million made him a symbol of the conflict. His apology in 2022 for remarks about Saudi involvement, calling his own actions reckless, did little to quiet the uproar. Mickelson's transformation from beloved champion to polarizing figure has forced the sport to confront its values. Scottie Scheffler, the world's top-ranked player, stayed with the PGA Tour, emphasizing tradition and the pursuit of history over money. His stance has struck a chord with those who see the tour as the steward of golf's heritage. With the official World Golf Ranking standoff unresolved, LIV players now depend on past champion exemptions or special invitations to play in majors, a privilege that will fade. The next moves from golf's governing bodies and the choices of rising stars will shape the future of the game. Golf stands at a crossroads, tradition facing disruption, and loyalties reshaped by unprecedented investment. As both tours compete for the soul of the sport, fans and players now define what the future looks like. In this new era, every shot echoes far beyond the fairway. Share your thoughts below.